Imagine a scenario. During a celebration, maybe the New Year's, an old man is selling cookies on the street. You and a crowd of your neighbors are planning to buy some cookies. Let's say you're planning to buy 5 packets of cookies for you and your family to share. But one of your neighbors starts telling everyone to buy 20 packets of cookies each so that the old cookie seller could sell out his stock and have a happy time before the New Year's. At first sight, this proposal seems compassionate and warm hearted, helping the cookie seller to earn more money and celebrate his New Year's in happiness. But after careful consideration, you realize that you and your family are probably unable to finish 20 packets of cookies, even if you give some to others. And the surplus food will only sit in the kitchen, become expired, and thrown into the bin. Completely wasted, when you could have used the money on something else that may be more useful to you. You now want to stick with your original plan of only buying 5 packets of cookies. But you realize that you're actually unable to do so anymore because being the only person who refuses to help the cookie seller, you would seem unsympathetic in front of all your neighbors. Now, you'd either have to choose between buying the 20 packets of cookies, knowing that it will be a waste of food and money, or not, and refusing your neighbor's proposal, but seeming like an unsympathetic person in front of everyone. What would you choose to do? Caught in a dilemma, right? Well, if you have experienced this in any similar ways before, you have been morally blackmailed. If you don't know what the term moral blackmailing means, it is the wrongful strategy intended to force an outcome of actions by manipulating with one's perceptions and making it morally wrong for someone to do something. On a daily basis, many people perform moral blackmailing, whether intentional or not, in order to achieve their aims. And today, I will be telling you the potential harms of moral blackmailing, how to spot it in the future, how to protect yourself from it, and also to prevent you from accidentally conveying a moral blackmail to others. Now, I am in no way, shape, or form telling you to not help others with compassion, because I actually strongly encourage you to do so, but depending on your own capability. Yes, I am talking about your own capabilities, not when you're being guilt-tripped into doing something by others through the method of moral blackmailing and making you feel morally wrong and burdening you into doing something that is beyond your capability and even making you feel morally wrong for it. In the cookie seller example that I have raised, old age and poverty are used as moral blackmails that have forced you into carrying the responsibility of spending the extra money on buying the extra and unnecessary numbers of cookies. Even though your neighbor had good intentions, they're not aware of the moral blackmailing that they have unintentionally conveyed. To give you a better grasp on this concept, I'll raise a couple more examples that may deepen your understandings. Have you ever experienced your favorite perfume shattered into pieces, a completed Lego set accidentally smashed onto the ground, or your long devoted work being deleted on your computer by that one naughty kid who comes to your room to play? Well, I have, and all the adults would say, "Why are you so serious? They're just kids. Cut them some slack." Well, of course I know the kid was unintentional, but my annoyance and anguish just took so long to dissipate. So in this case, the adults have used a moral blackmail that has manipulated with our perceptions, making it morally wrong for us, who are older and more mature, to blame or even think about blaming the kid. Even though we know that we shouldn't really blame the kid, we have been made in this situation to seem malicious for even having the thought of doing so, causing us to doubt our own moralities and feel bad for it, even though we are actually the victims of the situation. Considering the horrible effects of moral blackmailing, why do we all fail to recognize it? Why are we so psychologically vulnerable to it? Well, oftentimes moral blackmailers either want to gain sympathy from us or to control over our behaviors. They're standing on their moral high ground, using the name of morality to forcefully make us do something that we simply have to accept, knowing that we will feel either too embarrassed or seem too immoral if we do not follow their requests in order to achieve their aims. We live in a society where there are established subconscious moral standards that forces us to carry the responsibilities of helping others, even and act within these restrictions, even though we sometimes do not feel the need to. In the old cookie seller example that I've mentioned, being sympathetic towards those who are older or those who are poorer are one of these moral standards that make us feel like we have to carry the responsibility of helping them, even when it is beyond our capability, and making us feel bad and guilty for it if we do not do so. So, these moral standards are what causes us to encounter these vulnerabilities upon a moral blackmail. Moral blackmailers know that this strategy works every time, and that whenever they use this strategy, they can instantly defeat a person psychologically. This is why we also encounter uncertainties upon these situations, because we have a similar sense of unconscious self-blame towards ourselves. We also have a lack of self-assurance upon moral blackmails due to our lack of knowledge on this topic, which in turn causes us to have a low self-esteem and make inaccurate judgments upon a sudden moral blackmail. Now, let's go back to the cookie seller example that I've talked about. You are definitely not immoral for not buying 20 packets of cookies. What you have originally planned, buying 5 packets of cookies, is already helping the old cookie seller. In fact, buying any numbers of cookies is helping a seller to make his profit. So if you feel that spending this much money on something is beyond your capability, or that you just simply do not want to waste unfinished food, you should tell your neighbor rightfully and confidently. I would really like to help, but buying 5 packets is my capacity and I don't want to waste unfinished food. In situations like these, when you feel a sharp pang of guilt, you should first ask yourself whether if you have been made to feel like less of a good person by the moral blackmailer, or if you actually bothered other people with your actions that you need to fix and correct. This is a method recommended by therapist and relationship expert Ken Page. If you've answered the first and think I've been made to feel like less of a good person by the moral blackmailer, again, confidently and rightfully say, no, I will not do this to them. You should set a boundary between you and other people, knowing that they don't get to decide for you. And also prevent further explanations or arguments if possible, as there will be no point in such endless conflict. You're also more informed on the topic of moral blackmailing now, so in the future, have more self-assurance and know when it is the right time to reject someone and when not to. Know that no one is perfect and that everyone have their own optimum capability, depending on their personal, economic, mental, and physical capacities. So, stand tall by your own moral values and never be swayed by these insidious tactics again. Thank you for listening.